Theresa May's decision to delay a vote on the Brexit deal has sparked more uncertainty in the UK. The British Prime Minister pulled the plug on today's vote on Monday. This was after it became very clear that the May government will not be able to get the Parliament's approval. The Brexit deal in its present form has been opposed not only by the opposition in the UK, but May's own coalition partner, the Democratic Unionist Party. The status of Northern Ireland after Brexit remains the biggest sticking point. The Theresa May government is, of course, looking at options now. The Prime Minister herself travelled around Europe to salvage her Brexit deal. She held talks with the Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte in The Hague, followed by a meeting with German Chancellor Angela Merkel in Berlin. But the European Union is not willing to negotiate anymore.
I will see Mrs. May this evening, and I have to say here, in the Parliament, as I did say before in this Parliament, the deal we have achieved is the best deal possible. It's the only deal possible. And so we cannot... There is no room whatsoever for renegotiation.
The best and the only deal possible, says the EU. Back at home, Theresa May's hold on power is hanging by a thread. Rivals of the British Prime Minister are mulling whether they should move a vote of no confidence. A section of the Conservatives also remains sceptical of the Prime Minister's leadership. Joining us is WION's correspondent from London, Oli Bharat. Good evening, Oli. What are the options, realistic options, before the British Prime Minister?
Theresa May doesn't have a huge amount of options. Clearly her plan A is to try and secure some kind of concessions from the European Union and EU leaders with regards to the deal that she had already struck with them. Those concessions are only like to amount to cosmetic changes or changes in the wording, or perhaps some extra assurances and guarantees around that idea of the backstop issue for Northern Ireland. If she achieves that, she will at some point in the not too distant future put the deal that she has reached to a vote in the House of Commons, a vote that it is going to be very difficult for her indeed to win. At that point, were she to lose the vote, the options include resigning, of course, calling a general election, coming back to Parliament with some other kind of Brexit arrangements, perhaps a slightly softer deal along the lines that Norway currently enjoys, for example. So her options are running out. She also has the ability, of course, to try and force through a no-deal Brexit, which is the Brexit that Britain would head into if a deal isn't reached with the European Union. But she's said all along that she wants to avoid that scenario. So her options are limited at this point.
And what does she need to push her Brexit deal in Parliament in London?
She needs some of these concessions around the Irish backstop. She needs to convince some MPs in her own party, but also other MPs as well, that the solution to that Irish border issue is not going to leave the UK stuck in a customs union with the EU in an indefinite period of time that it cannot extricate itself from without the permission of the European Union. That, for many MPs, is the red line here. They're really opposed to the backstop solution that has been reached with the European Union. So if she can't come back with significant assurances in that regard, then it looks very hard indeed for her to get her deal through the House of Commons at all.
And I think most importantly, she needs to ensure that she remains in office. She survived all these challenges that were thrown at her government. And as we speak, some lawmakers, I understand, are mulling another no-confidence motion against her. Will she survive?
That's right. So two potential ways that challenge could unfold. One is that the opposition parties in Parliament launch a no-confidence vote in the government. At this point, the Labour Party, the opposition Labour Party, hasn't done so because it doesn't quite believe it's got the numbers to win that vote as it stands. The other way, of course, is that her own MPs in her Conservative Party could try and unseat her. If 48 letters go into the crucial 1922 committee of the Conservative Party, then that vote of confidence in her leadership from within her own party would then take place, and the possibility of a leadership contest for the Conservatives. We don't know how many letters have gone into the 1922 committee as it stands. The right wing of her party is suggesting they reckon they've either got there or nearly got there, so we could be close to seeing that scenario unfold. Theresa May, though, by the way, may not feel that that's such bad news for her. If she wins that leadership challenge within her own party, she's then immune to another one for 12 months, and she may feel emboldened to press ahead with Brexit.
Interesting times there in London. Oli Barat, thanks very much for joining us and bringing us those details. This, of course, remains a developing story.